They say the moon is the eye of the night. But in the small village of Kuzani, life was simple. People walked, animals roamed freely, and everyone shared what they had. It was a warm evening. The market was closing. Children chased chickens around dusty paths. The palace guards changed shift at the hilltop gate. And at the center of it all was Amina, a 15-year-old girl who fed the animals every evening as if they were family. The moon began rising, huge and golden. Then suddenly, it flickered. It dimmed. And right before the eyes of every human and animal, new moon, the moon disappeared. Total darkness swallowed the sky. People screamed. Goats froze. Owls cried out. The palace drum sounded an alarm. No one understood what had happened. But everyone felt the same thing. Something ancient had awakened. By the time the sun finally returned, the village of Kuzani was silent, too silent. People moved through the morning like ghosts, whispering about the vanished moon. Some blamed forgotten gods. Some blamed the palace. Others said the world was ending. But Amina felt something different. Not fear, but a strange pull. As if the night itself had left behind a message. While the adults argued, Amina walked toward the edge of the village where the forest began. The animals followed her quietly. The goats, the village dog, even the grey owl that only appeared when something important was about to happen. The forest floor was still damp with morning dew when she saw it. A giant footprint. Not the footprint of any animal she knew. Not the footprint of any human. But something far larger, far heavier. Pressed deep into the earth. And the strangest part. It glowed. A faint, bluish light, like the last breath of the moon. Amina crouched and placed her hand inside the footprint. It was warm. Not warm like the sun. Warm like something alive had touched that earth only moments ago. The village hunter, Boko, stepped out from the trees, bow in hand. He'd been tracking the same print since dawn. He looked at Amina and whispered. Amina, whatever did this, didn't come here to watch the moon. It came here to take it. More animals gathered. The antelope sniffing the footprint. The chickens backing away. The owl fluttering its wings nervously. And that was when Amina realized something powerful. The animals were scared. But not of the forest. They were scared of something new. Something that didn't belong. Something that walked on 2 feet. But wasn't human. Amina stood up and followed the glowing trail. She didn't wait for permission. She didn't wait for adults. The animals followed her instinctively, staying close, sensing danger and destiny mixed together. They walked deeper into the forest. Where the light barely touched the ground. Where the air grew thick. Where even the birds refused to sing. Every step forward felt like stepping into an old story. A story the elders never dared to tell. A story about creatures that lived before humans. Creatures born from shadow and loneliness. Creatures that wandered the world only when the moonlight disappeared. And the trail of glowing footprints led straight toward the mountain. Where something ancient was waiting. Something that wanted the moon for itself. The forest grew darker as Amina and the animals advanced. Even though the sun was rising, the canopy above swallowed the light, and every tree seemed to bend toward the glowing footprints as if guiding them forward. The animals sensed it too. The antelope's ears twitched nervously. The owl flapped silently from branch to branch, eyes wide. The goats huddled closer, unsure. And then, they saw him. At the base of the mountain, emerging from the mist and shadow, stood a giant figure. Not flesh, not fully human. But a creature of darkness, as if the night itself had formed into a living being. His body towered over the tallest baobab tree, his long, smoky fingers curled like tendrils reaching for the stars. And in those massive hands, the moon. It glowed faintly, dim and flickering, struggling against the creature's grasp. It was beautiful, and yet, stolen. The creature whispered to the moon, a low, trembling voice. "Shine, shine for me alone, you belong to me." Amina's heart pounded, but she did not falter. She realized the giant was not evil, he was lonely. So lonely that he had taken the moon from the world. A world that had taken him for granted. The animals and humans looked at each other, understanding that force alone could not defeat this being. They would need courage. And cleverness. They would need unity. And in that moment, Amina felt the weight of her village, the forest, and even the moon itself resting upon her small shoulders. She took a deep breath, looked at the creature, and whispered to herself. "Together, we can bring it back." Amina looked up at the shadow giant, her heart pounding. Its smoky fingers curled tightly around the moon, and she could see its lonely eyes, reflecting a desire no human had ever known. She knew they could not fight it. No arrow, no spear, no strength could pierce that darkness. But together, humans and animals could do something far more powerful than brute force. Something the giant would not expect. Amina turned to the animals. The owl perched above her, wings twitching. The antelope stamped its hooves in anticipation. Even the goats and dogs circled closer, sensing the importance of what was about to happen. She whispered a plan. The owl began to hoot a haunting, rhythmic song, one that carried through the forest like a forgotten wind. The antelope beat its hooves against the ground, sending vibrations up through the earth. The dogs barked softly, keeping time with the rhythm. And the humans clapped in quiet unity, creating a pattern, a call to the moon itself. The moon responded. Its faint glow began to grow, flicker, then shine brighter. The giant tilted his head, confused, murmuring in a low, trembling voice. "Why? Why is the moon moving away?" Amina crept closer. Her small hands reached toward the glowing sphere. The moon felt warm, alive, like it wanted to return home. She whispered words older than the village, words meant to call the lost back to the world. And then, it moved. The vines and shadows holding the moon loosened. It slipped through the giant's fingers, floating gently upward. The shadow giant roared in surprise and sadness, trying to reach it, but it was too late. The moon escaped him, carried by the rhythm, carried by hope, carried by the unity of humans and animals together. The glow of the moon spread over the forest like liquid gold. Light returned to the trees, the paths, the animals, the village beyond. Even the giant paused, watching, and for a moment, it was not a creature of darkness, but a figure of longing, lonely, misunderstood, yet powerless against the strength of harmony. Amina stepped back, her eyes shining with relief and pride. The animals around her nudged and circled, celebrating in their quiet, animal ways. The forest seemed to sigh with happiness as the moon rose fully into the sky, bright, strong, and free. And in that moment, Amina realized something profound. It was not strength that saved the moon, it was understanding, cleverness, and the courage to act together. The shadow giant let out a long, low sigh and began to dissolve into the mist. Not with anger. Not with violence. But quietly, like a shadow being released into the morning light. The forest and the village held their breath. And then the birds sang. The goats bleated. The humans cheered softly. The moon had returned. And the night of fear had ended. The forest exhaled. Light flooded the land like a river of gold. The birds sang again. The goats bleated happily, trotting through the clearing. Even the palace drums seemed to join in the celebration. Amina looked up at the moon, now bright and full, its glow spilling over the village and forest alike. She smiled softly, knowing the danger had passed, but also understanding the lesson it had left behind. The shadow giant, once a figure of fear, had disappeared into the mist. Not destroyed, not vanquished, just released. Its loneliness had been answered by something greater than greed: unity, courage, and compassion. The villagers emerged from their homes, speaking quietly to one another, still in awe of the events they had witnessed. For the first time, humans and animals didn't just share the same land, they shared the same purpose. The children laughed as they fed the goats and chickens. The dogs ran freely beside them. The owl perched silently above, as if keeping watch over this new harmony. Even the antelope grazed peacefully near the village square. Amina walked among them, her heart swelling with quiet pride. She had faced the impossible. And she had succeeded not with strength alone, but with understanding and trust, between herself, the animals, and the world around her. From that day forward, the village of Kuzani was never the same. People treated the animals with care, and the animals returned their trust tenfold. The moon's light became a reminder of the night when unity conquered fear, and when courage and compassion restored balance to the world. And every evening, as the moon rose over the village, Amina would smile, remembering the night she saved not just the moon, but the spirit of her home. The moon had returned. The night of darkness had ended. And a new dawn of unity had begun.